This is Real Deal Sports Talk with KP, April 9th, 2018.
Yo, Denver City life, living every night, getting it. All I see is green like it's night vision. My sight's different. My type driven. These niggas risking a life sittings over white flipping, but I ain't with it. I'm light skinned. My mind gifted, intelligence in my disposition, aristocratic image, and not to mention I'm nice with it. The ice drip over cardigan sweaters, tight fitting, white linen. This is the type of shit that entice women. The fly shit that I'm on is passing the sky's limits. Why it's not surprising to see that all of these guys live it. I vivid, solemnly swear the rhyme exquisite with the time I'm giving. My mind flying, defying physics. I stay smooth like sipping out of champagne flutes. Always way cool, but it ain't a thing, just a flame cruise. You lame dudes, this that shit that you can't do. That's why your main boo steady watching me how I make moves.
My high city life got me way above the clouds. Paint the audience a picture every time I draw a crowd. I hold my weight with these bars, so make no mistake. I get to cooking like Chef Curry and Golden State. I'm motivated, I'm taking off, moving vertically. Saying that they were seeing me lyrically, that's absurd to me. Virtually murdering MCs on purpose. Cutting their body parts into pieces is verbal surgery. You say you hot, but you ain't burning to the third degree. Time to bring some urgency in a state of emergency. There's no comparison to us, that's way embarrassing. Making something from nothing like ancient Native Americans. Man, listen, I'm undergoing a transition. My transmissions are filled with nothing but ambition. No remorse on these rappers like a Roman force. Snuck into the game on these suckers inside the Trojan horse.
On these rappers like a Roman force, snuck into the game on these suckers inside the Trojan horse.
Hey, it is April 9th, 2018. This is Real Deal Sports Talk with KP. I am KP. Thanks for listening. Thanks for tuning in. We got a lot that we're going to talk about on the show today. Some stuff, we spent 25 minutes talking about Wrestlemania the other day, so we'll get back to the results and the winners and, the Hall of Fame class that went in this year. We're going to talk a little bit about the Masters. We're going to talk the NHL playoff picture, the Wild West that is in the NBA. I am changing my MVP pick based on some information. I saw some stats I found on Twitter by a guy named Tommy Beer, verified account now, Tommy Beer, at Tommy Beer, check him out. And then I'm going to give my reaction to Isaiah Thomas's comments on LeBron versus Michael. As we all have seen how Scottie Pippen fell, we saw Tracy McGrady's face during the clips. So lots to talk about today. This is Real Deal Sports Talk with KP. I am KP. For those of you who are tuning in for the first time, there are many ways to contact the show. Reach out to us if you'd like to. We'll get you on the show. You can check out the website, realdealsportstalkwithkp.com. There's the text line, 720-515-5597. Email us at rdst.wkp@gmail.com. We've got 2 different forms on the website where you can reach out to us. Tell us what we're doing wrong. Tell me what I'm doing wrong. Tell me what I can do better. And then, of course, the social media as well. You can get that on the Check Us Out page. There are links to the Barbarians, who you heard their track as we came on the show today, City Life. So their links are up there as well. Marcus Ogden, friend of the show, how to reach out to him for his Leadership Academy and for public speaking. And then, of course, all of our social media links to our YouTube where you can re-listen to the show, Twitter, Google+, Facebook. Our messenger icon is on there. So definitely reach out if you want to. Love the listeners, good, bad, or otherwise, when it comes to the comments that I be getting from them sometimes. Let's jump into the Masters. The Masters was the big story. Everybody the experts picked Tiger Woods, said he was the favorite. He wasn't even the story. He was the pre-story. The story pretty much the whole time was the winner of the tournament, and Patrick Reed at 15 under. Fowler came in second right behind him. Ricky Fowler, that is, had 14 under. He had a great weekend. Spieth made things interesting on the last day. Was he 9 under or something like that in the last round? McIlroy kind of slipped out of it in the final round. Where did Henrik Stenson end up? Stenson ended up in 7th, and he was the leader through the first day, maybe the... and then, Tiger didn't really have it. The weather, whatever it was, it just wasn't Tiger's tournament. He was playing well coming into it. It was a story everybody kind of wanted to see the best of Tiger come back. But, you put up what Patrick Reed did over the weekend, 69, 66, 67, and then a 71 in the last round to hold out and get that 15 under. And really, he didn't panic. He didn't panic when he saw Spieth climbing the board. He didn't panic when Fowler was staying tight. Fowler had a great weekend. I mean, you go 70, 72, 65, 67. That can win you some tournaments on the PGA. He just ran up against a guy who was one shot better than him on the weekend. He finished strong on Saturday and Sunday. Maybe had he had a better round 2, had that 72 be a 70 or a 69, then of course he wins the tournament. But that's the Masters. I'm not a big golf guy. I enjoy playing golf. I don't follow a lot of these guys. So the best story for me would have been, Tiger in the mix on Sunday, win-lose, him being dominant, him showing some of that former prowess would have been the better story as far as I'm concerned when it comes to golf. And again, there was some great golf played this weekend, but not what everybody was kind of hoping for. All right, WrestleMania 34 took place last night. Extremely long event. No reason for it to have been taken that long. Had a long. It had a pre-card. It had the regular matches. We're not spending a ton of time on this today. We'll get into it. We'll go through the winners, quick reaction, and then we'll get done with this WrestleMania talk for a while. Universal Champion Brock Lesnar, he retains the title against Roman Reigns. Physical match, not really the best match of the night from all accounts that I've read today. I didn't personally watch it. I don't have the WWE Network. But I've seen the clips. I watched the Twitter feeds. I retweeted stuff last night. And it seems like Brock Lesnar, I had predicted he would lose the title because he's going on to the UFC. It looks like that's going to take place later this month at the big event they're doing in Saudi Arabia, where he is going to defend the title against Roman Reigns in a cage match. That's probably where it goes down now. Tag team champions, Braun Strowman. He didn't have a partner coming into this match against The Bar. It was big speculation. Who's it going to be? All these different rumored wrestlers who were supposed to be at the event. And Brad Shepard of Bodyslam.net is reporting that the kid Nicholas, that was brought into the ring and won the tag titles with Braun Strowman, is actually the son of WWE referee John Cone. Now, when I first heard the story, I instantly thought, okay, he is related to, or he's the son of somebody in the organization. Ding, ding, ding. They're not going to pick a random fan and have something go wrong. So, it was somebody who was related. Nicholas, congratulations. I hope that was a great fan moment for you. And good job, John, for letting your son participate. WWE Championship, AJ Styles defeats Shinsuke Nakamura. That's what I thought would happen. Raw Women's Championship, they did let Nia Jax get her moment and defeat the Bully the incoming champion in Alexa Bliss. I did not think Daniel Bryan and Shane McMahon would win their match. I thought something would go wrong there with Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn's characters with the way they've been written. But they didn't, and Daniel Bryan had his WrestleMania moment coming back after his long hiatus. The Undertaker did show up. He did defeat John Cena in a match that lasted a shorter amount of time than his walk to and from the ring. But great moment nonetheless. Two legends for the WWE. SmackDown titles. The Bludgeon Brothers win that one. Okay, great. We all knew Ronda Rousey and Kurt Angle would win. One of the better matches of the night. Ronda Rousey in-ring performance was pretty good, better than her mic skills at the moment. They keep giving Jinder Mahal more and more opportunities. He is now the United States champion as he beats Randy Orton, Bobby Roode, and Rusev. SmackDown, Charlotte Flair beat Asuka, like I thought, and probably what was the match of the night. Very well could have been the main event. And then the Intercontinental Championship, Seth Rollins defeat The Miz and Finn Balor to be the Intercontinental Champion, probably the second best match of the night. Naomi won the initial WrestleMania Women's Battle Royal. Cedric Alexander got himself the Cruiserweight Championship, and Matt Hardy won the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. All right, that's WrestleMania 34. Moving on. Let's do this fool, Trevor Davis. Have you guys read about this story today? Trevor Davis, he is a Packers defensive back, and he was on a trip with his significant other. I'm not sure if it was a girlfriend and wife, but they're at LAX and checking their baggage at the claim or whatever, and they standard procedure, the people ask them, do you have any contraband, firearms, blah, 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 in your luggage? And Trevor Davis, this is a sign of character, a sign of maturity. These things are all connected. We talked about the importance of character before. Trevor Davis turns to a significant other and says, did you remember to pack the explosives? Instantly getting himself arrested. You can't make jokes like that. There's an investigation going on. The Packers won't comment. The kid probably just lost himself a job or very likely stacked the dominoes against him. You just don't joke like that. If you want to joke like that, you do it in your buddy's garage. You know, you do it at your house with a group of friends and you're making jokes about stupid stuff that could happen at an airport. You don't go to the airport and make your dumb joke. I get it, you were just joking, there was no harm, no foul, you didn't mean anything by it, but you also didn't take time to use your intelligence. So, Trevor Davis, congratulations, you are one and done. Oh, NHL playoff picture, let's move on to that. We haven't talked NHL really at all on the show this year, and self-professed, I don't have a hockey team. There's not that team that I'm just that big fan of. I enjoy going to a game. Every now and then I'll watch a game during the regular season. I enjoy watching the Stanley Cup Finals, but I would not call myself an expert in the world of hockey by any means. That being said, the playoffs are kicking off on Thursday, and we should go over who's in the playoffs and you know, what's going on there. We shared out a bracket on our Google Plus page today that was put together by the folks over at NBC. It's kind of, you know, it's a bracket. It shows who's facing who in bracket format from the Western Conference to the Eastern Conference down to the final two teams that will be in the Stanley Cup Finals and then a slot for the Stanley Cup champions. Looking at who the teams are, here are the matchups. Eastern Conference matchups. First, Tampa Bay Lightning, the Atlantic #1 overall spot, taking on the wild card 2, which is the New Jersey Devils. This could be a good matchup. I would expect Tampa Bay to go ahead and move on this one. However, the Devils did win the season series 3-0. They beat them in October, February, and March by a total of 11 to 8 in those games. And then the first one was actually a shootout in October. Boston, the Atlantic number 2, is taking on Toronto Maple Leafs, the Atlantic number 3, in their first round matchup. The Maple Leafs won this season's series 3-1. One game in overtime, 3-2. Back-to-back games in November on the 10th and the 11th. Toronto wins in overtime, and the next day they beat them 4-1. In February, they played them twice. Each team taking one of those. The Capitals are taking on the Washington Capitals are taking on the Columbus Blue Jackets. Washington Capitals are the Metro number 1, and the Columbus Blue Jackets are wild card number 1. That season series, the Capitals took 3-1. I would expect the Capitals also to take this playoff series, and I would expect Toronto. Actually, you know what? No, I'm going to take Boston to knock Toronto out. I'm going to take the Capitals to beat the Blue Jackets. And then we got the battle. This could be one of the best matchups just because of the fans in this one. The Pittsburgh Penguins, Metro number 2, versus the Philadelphia Flyers, the Metro number 3. The Penguins swept the season series 4-0 with 2 overtime wins, both 5-4 in overtime. The other 2 games were not even close. I'll take Sid the Kid and the Penguins to win this series. Moving on to the Western Conference Round 1, Nashville Predators and the President Cup Trophy winners this year are taking on, and they're the Central number 1, are taking on Wild Card 2, the Colorado Avalanche, who got in on the last game of the year. Predators swept the series 4-0. You never want to go against a team that has nothing to lose because they can be dangerous, but in this one, the Predators do move on and win this series. The Winnipeg Jets, Central number 2, versus the Minnesota Wild, Central number 3. I'm going to go ahead and take the Wild in this one, even though the Jets won the season series 3-1. Why not? You got to pick somebody to shake things up on each side. Vegas Golden Knights, Pacific number 1, in their first season, the Vegas Golden Knights are taking on the Los Angeles Kings, wild card number 1. Do the Knights beat the Kings? No. The Kings get it done. The Knights had a great series, but I'm picking the upset. This season series was tied at 2 games apiece. I think these 2 teams are overly matched. Each team won a game in overtime. Each team won a game putting up 4 goals. I will take the Kings to beat the Knights in that series. The Anaheim Ducks, Pacific number 2, versus the San Jose Sharks, Pacific number 3. The Sharks won the season series 3-0-1. I'll take them also to move on after this playoff series here. If you'd like to use a bracket to keep track of the playoffs, please check out our Google Plus page again. We shared that out. GC Andrade shared NHL Hockey's post. And again, that bracket was put together by the folks over at NBC. Nice, helpful tool for visual people. The NBA Wild Western Conference. Like we said, the Eastern Conference 8, they are set. You probably won't see any shakeup in the standings. Washington and Milwaukee in these final 2 games, you might see something happen there, but pretty much the 8 teams in Toronto are in the Eastern Conference are set. Toronto will be the number 1 seed, followed by Boston, Philadelphia, Cleveland, Indiana, Miami, Milwaukee, and Washington, barring something crazy happening and Milwaukee losing the final 2 games of the season. Now the Western Conference. You could have in the final 2 games movement between the 3 and the 9 seeds. Everybody else is eliminated, but 3 through 9, you could have quite a bit of movement. Now the 9 team can't be the 3 team, but the 3 team could be as low as the 7 team if they lose their final 2 and the other teams below them win out. That being said, the 9 team, the Denver Nuggets, can get as high as they can't get higher than the 8 seed, but the current 8 seed Minnesota Timberwolves could get as high as the 4 seed. You could have the Jazz, who are in the 4 seed, end up being anywhere between 4 and 7. You could have Oklahoma City be anywhere between 7 and 4. A lot of movement right now. Being here in Denver, Denver not only needs to win their final 2 games, they need to beat Portland tonight. They need to finish out and beat Minnesota next. But then they will also need Minnesota, Oklahoma City, or San Antonio, or New Orleans to pick up an additional loss or 2. So Nuggets are going to need some help to get in. Outside of that, your 8 teams should be Houston, Golden State, Portland, Utah, New Orleans, San Antonio, Oklahoma City, and Minnesota. Those teams hold the cards for themselves to get in. You win out, you're in the playoffs. Period. You're going to keep the seeding that it is right now if all you do is just win your final 2 games. So, who do those teams take on as the season comes down to the end? Well, tonight, Minnesota's taking on Memphis. That should be a win for Minnesota. San Antonio's taking on Sacramento. Should be a win for Sacramento. Denver has Portland. Portland, if they decide to rest some people, since their spot is locked in, they're going to be the 3 seed. Denver's got a chance there. They got a chance either way, but they have a much better chance if Portland decides to rest their stars a little bit, their starters a little bit, and, play them less minutes, don't play them at all. More than likely, you see them play fewer minutes in this game. The Clippers will then take on the Pelicans tonight. That should be a win for the Pelicans. On Tuesday, Utah has Golden State. Should be a win for Utah. Golden State's kind of, getting into the playoffs. But with their performance the other night, maybe they have something to prove and they want to finish out strong. Could be a situation where now you see Utah take that loss and drop out of that 4 slot. Then Wednesday is the final day of the season. And you're going to see Denver take on Minnesota in Minnesota. San Antonio in New Orleans. Oklahoma City will have Memphis in town. Utah will play at Portland. And those are all Western Conference matchups that will determine seeding and who gets in this crazy Western Conference this season. Now, you're not seeing some of the record disparities that you've seen in years past to where the Western Conference numbers and records are just so much higher than everybody else who made the playoffs in the Eastern Conference. You're seeing a little more parity in what's going on in the NBA right now. Some of that is coaching. Some of it is the increase in talent. But outside of the teams that are at the top of each conference respectively, most of the teams left are all bunched together. Toronto's at 58 wins in the East. Houston, 64. Golden State, 58. Everybody else is less than 50 wins currently in the Western Conference. In the Eastern Conference, you actually have more teams with 50 wins. Philadelphia, Boston, and Toronto. Cleveland with a chance. Indiana has a chance. So you actually a little bit see the changing of the guard a little bit, with the Eastern Conference being a little stronger overall than the Western Conference. Now, Houston sticks out. They got to the 64 wins so far this season. 2 games left. Maybe they hit that 66 mark. But they still have to prove it in the playoffs. They have to prove it in crunch time, great regular season, 3-point records, all of that stuff. James Harden balling out of control. But now it's time to prove it in the playoffs. Now, I mentioned at the beginning of the show that I was changing my pick for MVP. And here's the thing. I had picked James Harden to be MVP just a couple weeks ago or a few shows back. And I had said LeBron's having a great season. But you put together what James Harden did last year with what he's doing this year, with the record, best record in the league, and you have to give him the nod. Regardless of the talent on his squad versus the talent on LeBron's squad and the turnover the Cavs had and LeBron carrying the team and the coach going down and, you know, all these things, losing Kyrie, you had to just give the nod finally to James and say, all right, last year you did it. This year you repeated it. You took it to another level. Your team won more games. Here's your MVP. But then I came across this tweet by Tommy Beer, verified account on Twitter, @Tommy Beer, and he has, at the point of this post, he had the 2017-18 season totals for both LeBron James and James Harden. Points: LeBron James, 2,171. James Harden, 2,141, 30 points less. James Harden is leading the league in scoring average. One of the reasons I decided, give him the nod. He's also higher in assist average. But LeBron has 723 assists on the season, and Harden has 611 assists. 112 different. Rebounds: LeBron James has 687. James Harden has 381. That's a difference of 306 rebounds. Blocks: LeBron has 70. James Harden has 48. I kind of expected LeBron's number to be a little higher. But still, that's a difference of 22 blocks. Field goal percentage: LeBron James is at 59%. James Harden, 54.1%. James Harden does put up a lot more shots. He is asked to score. That is his game. That is what he does. But those numbers don't lie. It's not taking into account averages. It is saying, here's what they have on the season. When you look at those numbers, LeBron is by far and away the MVP this season. So I'm changing. I don't have a vote. If I did, I'd be changing it today to LeBron James. Long has been the debate. Is LeBron James the next Michael Jordan? Is he better than Michael Jordan? Who's the GOAT? And you always hear different people interviewed about it. You hear different reactions here and there. You've heard my reaction and my stance on both of these players on this show many times. But I have to give a reaction again thanks to Isaiah Thomas, who on his show the other day, the show he was on the other day on ESPN, said what he thought about LeBron versus Michael and who was better and who he would take. And you've heard different people that have played with Michael and knew Michael now coming in and saying what they think. My reaction, we saw Tracy McGrady's face. He's sipping out of the cup, being smug, sitting back, not wanting to say anything, not wanting to laugh at what Isaiah's saying. We've heard Scottie Pippen's reaction now. But I have to say Isaiah Thomas is right. He is right. LeBron James is the better overall player. Yes, Michael Jordan is great. Undeniably great, okay? They played different positions. As Scottie Pippen said in his comment, they were asked to do different things. Michael Jordan was asked to be a scorer. He was asked to be a defender and get steals. That was his job on those Bulls teams. Okay? LeBron is asked to do a lot more than that. He has to be the facilitator, the scorer, play D, get rebounds, get banged down low. He's beaten up way more than Michael Jordan is. And it's not because Michael Jordan is more skilled and he was able to avoid it. It's because of his size. He's 6'8", 260 pounds. Michael Jordan was a 6'6", 235, 200, pound guy. LeBron James has been asked to guard all 5 positions in his career. Different era, different rules. LeBron's size and athleticism in this game is as unmatched as, I guess, Jordan's championships, which is what everybody wants to bring up when they talk about, oh, he'll never catch him. He's 6-0 in the finals. Well, if that's your only argument, you have already lost the argument. Because this is a team game. If Michael Jordan didn't have those 11 guys on the team, he would not have gone out and won a championship. He had 0 championships until that team got put together and they put Phil Jackson as the signal caller. As Clyde Drexler brought up this week, Michael played with guys that were Hall of Famers. LeBron has played with some guys that we don't remember or can't name that he took to the finals. And again, I'll say this. If LeBron James came around out of the draft in 1983-84 and was scoring points and doing his thing in the 80s and playing on the Chicago Bulls or the Cleveland Cavaliers, and then Nike and Gatorade picked him up and he won some championships and put up these numbers that he's putting up now and passing Jordan's numbers in many cases, he would be considered what Michael Jordan is considered right now. His name would have become synonymous with basketball like Michael's did. It's not that nobody compares. It's that what he did in the ad campaign and the clout that got behind him and rode him to millions of dollars ingrained that in so many people's heads that just is the Jumpman logo. The amount of people that collect his shoes, that would all be switched around if Michael got drafted in 2003 or 4 when LeBron came into the league, and LeBron was the guy who came in 83 or 84 and was the first one to do it. It would all be switched. But people have to hate. Both are amazing in their own right. Okay? It would be nice if all of these simplistic people out there, all of these simplistic sports fans and media could move away from who is better. Okay? Stop having the antagonistic, let's split ourselves up on sides storyline, and let's move towards appreciating both of their games. Okay? Because everybody on either side, or who wants to, could find a reason or pick apart an argument about why one of these guys is better than the other. Period. It can happen. You want to talk about game-winning shots. You want to talk about who's better at the free throw line. Who travels more? Who's a better dunker? Who had a better field goal percentage for the career? Steals, blocks, games played, consecutive this and that streaks. The fact of the matter is, what Jordan did in his era was very special. That's why these companies picked up on him. That's why the NBA got behind him. That's why his peers respected his greatness. What LeBron is doing now is equally as great. Get off of his back and give him some due. 7 straight finals appearances. And don't say, oh, well, Jordan took some years off. Jordan chose. He didn't get hurt. What we know is he chose to go play baseball. I think the conspiracy theory that they let him take time off because he was going to be suspended because he bet on basketball. And that would have been such a huge black eye for not only him, but the NBA and the game of basketball, which at that time was still third as out of the 4 pro sports, major sports in the United States. They couldn't have that. So I kind of think there could be something to that theory. Why would you then just come back? Oh, I had an itch. I realized I sucked at baseball. Okay, maybe. Then you build another team around him real quick. You get 3 more championships. Retires again, comes back again, retires again. Whatever. Great athlete. Great will. Nobody had a better will to win than Michael did, okay? Great competitor. That was what you hear of a guy like John Elway. You know, guys that are just going to compete over every little thing. And just appreciate to greatness. They were both good. If I had to pick one, I would go with LeBron because of his size. It just adds another dynamic. It's crazy what he can do at his size. It's crazy that we spent more time the other day talking about Wrestlemania than we've put into anything since the draft, NFL draft. It is crazy what we got going on in the Western Conference. Please watch these last two games. They're going to be something special. The NHL Playoffs are here. It's, for me, hockey season has started. Fans, true hockey fans, I'm sorry. I know y'all love your sport. I'm down with that. Do your thing. And until next time, you know how we do. Just be real.
Dear Reverend, I can't believe you damn near 7. I wrote this letter to tell you that you a real blessing. And I don't even believe in heaven, with the exception, if it's really real, then no question that you would be the essence. You the best thing that happens since I met your mama. Nothing makes me happier than the honor of being your father. Ever since your daughter laid up in the labor room, I can't believe how much a new baby could really change a dude. You was a planned birth, walk around with diaper bags like a man purse. I was prouder than any man on earth. Your first birthday, time flies in the worst way, cause just the other day you was trying to climb out the learning cage. Now you running and jumping, laughing with so much joy, no greater satisfaction than when you holding your baby boy. Star Wars, dinosaurs, all the latest toys, I give it to you all, anything you could ever ask me for. I send a kite to the loved ones within my life, cause you're the inspiration from which I write. Sincerely yours. To my dogs who rep the squad from day one, we're saying thanks, bro, for embracing love. Sincerely yours. To all the fans who keep records spinning like ceiling fans and giving us a chance, your extended fans. Sincerely yours. When I'm falling, my physical form is dead and gone, you can play this song in memory of. Sincerely yours.
Dear Mom, I'd just like to thank you for being strong. You could have gave up, but you just kept pressing on. Lost most of your vision, but I wanted you to see deep down inside what you really mean to me. Bend but don't break, don't ever get it confused. The survivor of the physically and mentally abused. We are all God's children, but you are like an angel. My whole being formed in your womb, and I'm thankful. Long, hard hours on the grind in a bus, but you always found time to take care of all of us. I'm not rich with money, I'm wealthy, because you taught us always exercise and eat healthy. No father around, so I should have been a fool, but instead got a full ride scholarship to school. Always tried your best, never gave us bad advice. In the dictionary, see your picture next to sacrifice. I love you.
I send a kite to the loved ones within my life, cause you're the inspiration from which I write. Sincerely yours. To my dogs who rep the squad from day one, we're saying thanks, bro, for embracing love. Sincerely yours. To all the fans who keep records spinning like ceiling fans and giving us a chance, your extended fans. Sincerely yours. When I'm falling, my physical form is dead and gone, you can play this song in memory of. Sincerely yours.